Yeah. Welcome, everybody, to the A-Slut Podcast, with the most electrifying man in all of podcasting, your host, the Opera Ghost. Now please, sit back, relax, make sure you enjoy yourself, and always remember, let's get A-Slutty. Find the A-Slut Podcast on all social media at the A-Slut Podcast. And please check out the website A-SlutPodcast.com or email the show, the A-Slut Podcast at gmail.com. And once again, please enjoy. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the A-Slut Podcast. New intro, as you've just heard, and we're going to try with some little music in the background. Let me know what you think of it. If it works, awesome. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. Just thought I'd try something new as part of this. Welcome back. It's been a week. We're still going through all of these terrible, terrible times. So hopefully I can be a little bit of a shining light for you as we go through this. I'm going to keep this short and sharp for you all. Today I have Emily and Sadie on from my last trip to Sydney, which was just before lockdown. And we talk about the fun times that we had in Sydney. I was over for a Pendulum party, like I was last time in Sydney. A little bit of a different experience this time, but still amazing nonetheless. Let's get to talking with Emily and Sadie. And as always, please enjoy, and let's get A-Slutty. Cool, and welcome to the A-Slut Podcast. Emily and Sadie, how are we doing, ladies?
Yeah, good. Very good.
Cool as. So we only met properly a short while ago on my little trip to Sydney. But first, before we do anything, tell us a little bit about you guys.
Yeah, so we met actually at the last Pendulum party.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm originally from Sydney, and I've probably been kind of dabbling in the lifestyle, going to swingers clubs for about 6-ish months. And I
was about to say 6 years, and I was like, holy crap, I'm
yeah.
that.
No, 6 months. About 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a bit more. Maybe it was 6 months around when we met.
Yeah, I think so. I think you were going a little bit longer than I had at that point.
But yeah, it was definitely a way of me kind of exploring my bisexuality and just getting to know people and being in a great, sexy environment. But yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of the same for me. I think I'd only been to a couple of nights, like 1 or 2 times to our secret spot before I met you, which was something I wasn't expecting. I don't think that's what most people expect when they go to a club like that.
Definitely go to a swingers event to come out in a relationship. That's exactly the way that it's all meant to go, right?
Yeah. So, I'm just bucking the trend. I like to be a little bit different, I guess.
Yeah, but just step back for a moment there. For those who don't know, our secret spot, Pendulum, what is it?
So our secret spot is a swingers club in Sydney. Mm-hmm. They actually have 2 locations now, which is very exciting.
It's uber exciting.
So you can pick which place you want to go to. And Pendulum is a, I guess, queer-friendly night that Bradford and Angela from By the By podcast host at Our Secret Spot, which is always a really fun, exciting, sexy kind of night.
Yeah. So it was going into sort of how we met, me meeting you two and whatnot, was the fact that I was in Sydney recently and attended this Pendulum party, and we sort of, we sort of went through that and met up just before the event, and then went to the new secret spot, which was exciting. But how did that all start? Sadie, you're probably the one to ask about this. How did we start talking and meet up and whatnot?
I had definitely listened to one of your podcasts, and I think I found out about your podcast through listening through By the By's podcast. And I think I just started talking to you. I think I had a question around where you had stayed in Redfern. So we just started talking, and I think I asked if you were going to come to the next one or something along those lines.
Yeah, and that was a little while ago though, because I'd planned. Because the one that I was planning to go on was back, I think it was November.
Oh yeah, that's the one that me and Emily met at.
Right. Yeah, and it had been about a year since I'd been to my last one, because I did put out an episode. It was about a year ago now. Jesus. I've been really bad with this recently. I haven't put out an episode in ages. I only just recently put out the start of season 2, so... but it prior to this one, it had been about a year, and we sort of messaging back and forth somewhat loosely, I guess.
Yeah, it wasn't like constant.
No.
I'm not a big texter really. I find it sometimes a bit challenging, and that's one reason why I do like going to swingers clubs is it kind of cuts out all that texting back and forth with a couple that you want to hook up with, or another person you want to hook up with. You kind of just feel them in the moment, and then if it's a good connection, you go up and play. It's as simple as that.
One of the big things that I've been talking about a fair bit recently in my personal life as well is that through text only, you're only receiving 7% of all the information that's given.
Yeah.
So you're not seeing how, you're not seeing body language, you're not seeing what the face is doing, you're not hearing tone of voice. There's so many things, and I think that's why a lot of people who sort of talk online and they finally meet up and it's they've got all this great chemistry while they're talking online, but when they finally meet up, it's sort of lacking a bit. And I think that's a lot of the reason behind that.
Yeah, and I think when we had decided that we wanted to go and have dinner beforehand, before going to Pendulum, I thought that would be a great idea. And it was 4 of us that went, and there's enough social, there's big enough social group so you can bounce off each other, and you don't have to, just get on with one person. I think it's always nice to enter into those situations where it can be a little bit intense for people. Even if you've done it like 20 times, it can still be quite intense. Yeah. So doing something a bit more relaxed to start with is a great way to set up for a bit more of a successful night.
Exactly, and it worked out really, really well because the person that I was with, I won't name her on this, but because I don't have her permission to, she had never been before either, and she has a few social, I don't want to say issues, but she gets a little bit anxious is probably the best way to do it. So having the dinner beforehand really helped her out as well as myself.
I think also when you're talking, woman to woman, that can be a bit more... I don't know. Reassuring.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
And I think it's also good to be able to walk in with somebody else, or know that there are people there who it's a little bit less daunting.
Although being there, doing that, walking in by yourself, I've been there, done that.
Yeah, me too.
And then I think there's some advantages of that versus going in with a group. But, yeah.
See, if I'm walking in by myself, then I'm going to make a big show and spectacle of it. I'm going to be like, throw out the curtains, be like, hello, I am here, I have arrived.
That's funny because I felt like you did that in a group too.
Hey, Wait, is this when we walked into the club?
Yeah,
Or is that-
I feel like you make a big song and dance.
Is that just because I went searching for Bradford and Angela and the gentleman, like, straight away, and just went, I'm hunting you down?
Yes. You weren't very subtle, is what I'm trying to say.
No. I'm not a subtle kind of person.
No.
I'm pretty upfront.
Yes.
But yeah, so we went and had dinner, which was nice, good dinner.
Yeah.
And rocked up to the new Our Secret Spot, which I think was really, really cool. It was in a very different kind of entryway to the one that I knew from last time I was here, which was the one in Darlinghurst. I think it's in Darlinghurst.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think the one in Darlinghurst is quite private.
yeah. Whereas this was out right on the street, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, cool.
It's funny.
Sure.
It's funny actually because I went to the opening night of the
Mhm.
Annandale Club, the second one, and when I rocked up, I was on my own, but I was meeting someone there, and there was a line up the front as they were letting
Oh,
people
that
in,
would've been
because it
amazing.
takes a minute. Like, you don't just walk in and go in. Like, it takes a minute, and you get your key and you do whatever. And there was a line of people out the front, and most people were kind of, dressed semi-normally, You wouldn't really know, but then there were some people who did rock up a little bit more dressed down or a little bit
in
more...
full kit.
Yeah. And you could definitely see people walking by or driving by being like, what are these people doing?
All those sexy people.
But
Yeah.
I don't want to scare anybody from not going, because it wasn't like that the
No.
next time. I think it was just that night when it was extra, extra busy.
I think
It's very
I think
discreet.
the weirdness around that, as I was about to say, is there's no big sign saying like Our Secret Spot or Swingers Club
No.
or anything like that. It's literally just like a black facade
Yeah.
and a door.
Yeah. It looks like you're walking into some like weird underground party, which I guess is
It
exactly
kind of
what it
is. But yeah,
But yeah,
that would have been.
I
Really
guess we I drove over us to Annandale and
You
we
drove
got
over
to the
us?
club. No, I didn't. Not over you. No, I drove in my car, all of us.
I couldn't help myself. But yeah, so you drove us over to the club.
Yeah, and we got there about, was it 8:45?
Yeah, we got there relatively early,
Yeah.
which is nice. And so in here, because I haven't been to the Annandale one before this night, so and I haven't spoken about it, so I kind of just want to do a little walkthrough of the place, which my memory sucks, so I might need some help from you two doing this.
Yeah.
But you get to the front door, you press the little doorbell, and you get let inside. As soon as you go inside, there's a curtain that comes across, and you've got like a reception area where you give them your tickets, you pay your deposit for the key for your locker, and then you head through the curtain and you're in the club.
Yeah.
The feeling that I got from this OSS is that they could build it the way that they wanted it to be done. Whereas
definitely.
with Darlinghurst, it just felt they had to make what they had into the space that they had.
Yeah.
Whereas this one almost felt like it was custom built for what they wanted to do, which was really, really cool. So you walk through, you've got the bar on the right hand side. That's not really any different to Darlinghurst. But
It's bigger though. It's
much like
bigger. Probably 5 times bigger.
way bigger.
Yeah.
But you walk through, you've got the bar on the right, and the whole downstairs bit was all social area, which was really cool. There was a pool table right in front of you as you walk in. As you continue walking down the back, there's like I guess a dance floor, for lack of a better term, with a stripper's pole.
I think it actually is.
There's a pole there as well.
Yeah.
And your partner was showing me a couple of things that she could do on the pole at one point.
She does classes for it, so
She was really good.
And I'm extremely upset because I missed that.
Oh, really? Oh.
Uh,
Where were you? Were you having some other fun?
No, I was outside with Simon.
Oh, that's right.
Remember?
That's actually one of the things I will say is it does get very hot quite quickly inside. Because you do have a decent number of people who are usually involved in some form of activity.
Yes.
Which makes you sweaty and makes everything quite warm. So sometimes it is nice just to step outside and have a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
So you've got the dance floor. I think there's a bathroom at the back of the dance floor as well.
I think so.
I've been
told, but I've never seen it.
I've never seen it actually. I haven't gone back there. But there's also a lot of couches around as well.
Yeah, lots
and
lots
some
of
couches before you get. Yeah.
Very comfortable.
So there's places to sit.
Mm. Oh yeah, it's not just standing around. Especially for the people that have worn heels to the place. It's nice to sit down sometimes.
Yes, it's always nice.
Stupid heels.
Actually, speaking of bathrooms, what I thought was really, really clever is that they used red lights for all the bathrooms, so you knew that's where they were. So you weren't just aimlessly wandering around trying to find a bathroom.
Yeah, that was a good point.
And it also means that when you open the bathroom door to go in or come out, you're not exposing everybody to the light because it is quite dark up there.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
So
mood
it
lighting.
Was nice. It was very ambient. But again, that goes back to what you were saying about they could make it how they wanted to. They were able to be intentional when they designed it and built it.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more with that. So as you got to the pole and the dance floor and stuff, you'd turn around and you'd face back towards the entrance, and there was a set of stairs on the right hand side.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Quite narrow stairs, though.
Narrow and quite steep as well.
Very steep.
Very steep. Coming down them, I always felt like I was just going to trip up and just roll down the stairs.
Yeah. I'm sure if it hasn't happened already, it's going to somebody.
Yeah. I've seen someone fall downstairs at Darlinghurst before, and I've just been like, oh gosh.
Oh dear. Like, Darlinghurst isn't too bad.
Tripped down the bottom of those stairs once or twice.
Is that who you were talking about then?
No, I didn't see.
I didn't fall down the stairs. I just tripped on the last one.
This person fully fell, and they were a bit too drunk, which is always not a good sign.
Yeah, that's not
stairs
great.
And alcohol, not the best mix.
Especially stairs like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you go up the stairs and you're in the locker room straight away. So you sort of go up and you put all your stuff into the lockers and that sort of thing, and then you get yourself set for the night, I guess. Yeah. Lots of people dressing down in that area, which was more than okay by me.
Yeah. There are always a few people who are dressed down straight away, which I think we all appreciate.
Absolutely.
I'm not game enough yet. Maybe the next one I'll just dress down straight away. I'll be like, stop this.
I think that it's great that people do dress down early because it makes others feel more comfortable to do so as well. Like, no one wants to be that first person to be walking around in next to nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally don't mind doing that because it means I'm the centre of attention for a while, but I guess regular people don't.
Yeah. And I guess behind the locker room, that if you keep going towards the front of the building, that's where the big play area is. Yeah,
so that's the big orgy room. There's 3 beds plus the main bed?
There's 3 I think double or queen size beds. They're quite big.
I think they're queens.
3. Yeah, there's 3, and then at the back there's 2 queen size beds pushed together.
Yeah.
And when we first started playing, I kept falling down the crack.
In more ways than one.
I was going to say, is that a euphemism?
No, literally. I'd be like, ah.
They need to build some sort of apparatus, I think, to keep those beds together.
Right. Yeah, so on the left-hand side, there's those 3 queen beds.
Yeah.
And they're fully framed as well.
Yeah.
Because they used to have, I think you were telling me, they used to have, curtains on that the first time you went in.
Yeah. On the opening night, there were, curtains on all of the 4-poster beds, and it looked very something kind of like Game of Thrones or something. It was very, very cool. But apparently, talking to Bradford, he said that people couldn't play nice and
just
were doing the wrong thing, so they had to take them down.
Yeah, which is a shame because it would have looked amazing with those there.
It did. I wish I took a picture because I also remember I was telling you all before we got there about it because I was so impressed, and then they weren't there.
Then we went up there and there was a
I felt
what
bad.
were you talking about there, Emily?
Yeah.
I did joke that we should just put our clothes over and
Yeah.
make our own mini drapes, but that didn't
You
happen.
could DIY it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely could. So yeah, the 3 framed beds and then the 2 big ones. It's almost like on a stage, I guess. The 2
it's
queens
kind of-
pushed together.
Yeah, I think it's elevated a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely elevated.
Mm. And then the other thing in that big room, that's when you first walk in,
You don't
there's
see.
the 3 beds on the left.
Mhm.
But if you kind of turn around the corner on the left, there's actually a huge like shower room.
Yeah,
I don't know if you call it a shower room. I guess
it is though.
Which is very
It's like
cool.
the size of my apartment, that shower room.
Yeah, it actually is.
Oh dear, Sydney. But yeah, I think they've got about 4 or 5 shower heads just in that in that room, which is
Yeah.
actually quite nice. It's another place where it's kind of nice to just chuck in a little bit of cold water and freshen up a little bit.
Yeah.
If you don't want to, if you're completely dressed down, you don't want to step outside, just run your head under the shower for
Yeah.
20, 30 seconds or whatnot. But that's sort of that wing of the club. As you head back through, you go past the locker room again.
Mhm.
And on the right-hand side, there's another small room that had a little swing in it.
Yes.
Oh,
I did try to get
someone's
you guys excited
that.
about that, but no one wanted to play with me exactly that.
I did.
I think it was me that put the kibosh on that, actually.
I think it could have been because it wasn't me, and it
Yeah.
definitely wasn't you.
But this was much later on in the evening anyway.
Yeah, so we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Getting quite ahead of ourselves. So yeah, but the cool thing about that room as well is it was one-way glass.
Yes.
So if you're inside the room, you didn't realise that people were watching you through this glass. But if you were outside, you could see in and see what was happening. So I really, really like that idea. If you're a little bit self-conscious and you don't want to feel like people are watching you, I guess, but people still being able to do that while people are watching without physically seeing them. I think that's a great idea for those that are a little bit shy, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea too.
Maybe next time I'll have to use it.
Yes. There's a couple of settees in that kind of first section as well, where you guys were doing some stuff later on as well.
Oh, stop jumping ahead.
Just getting excited.
I know. It is tough to not get excited because there is a lot of fun that was had during the night.
Yes.
So as you go on past there's another little hallway, I guess. Yep, hallway. Was there 2 or 3 rooms down there? I think there was 3.
I think there's actually 4.
What is it for?
And then a bathroom.
Oh wow! I swear I only counted 3 and then the bathroom. Either way, there's 3 or 4
Lots.
rooms that are in here. And these were, I guess, they were put to us as private rooms where you could go and do your own thing, and you could have it open for people to join, or you have a chain that goes across so people can watch from outside, or you can close the door completely and just play between yourselves, which is a really, really cool idea. It gives people those options again, which I think is really, really cool, and it makes it, for lack of a better term, a bit safer for those who are wanting to play in there to have that choice.
Yeah, I think sometimes, I think it's also just genius to have the chain across the door.
Yeah.
It sends a really clear message that, you don't want to be shut out, but you're just happy doing what you're doing.
Exactly.
Which is good.
Still be a part of everything.
And you don't actually have to tell somebody that. Like, you don't have to say to someone, hey, actually, I'm just playing with this person or whatever is going on.
Which can be a really awkward thing to say as well.
Yeah. And I think on the whole, like, when you do, or if you do have to say something like that, people are generally very respectful. But sometimes it's nice to kind of have that responsibility taken out of your hands.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to turn someone down. You're literally kind of going, not today, or not right this second. I'm focusing on this.
That just reminded me of Game of Thrones. It's like, what do you say to death? Not today.
Exactly.
But yeah, so that's pretty much the layout of the place. We've made it. I don't think we've really given it the justice that it deserves, because it is huge, and it is a really great space.
Yeah, something to mention if you've been to the Darlinghurst, our secret spot, the Annandale one is just so much bigger.
Yeah.
It's kind of incredible. But I think it has the same kind of vibe.
Yeah, it's a similar sort of layout, I guess. It's just much better set. Because if you think of Annandale, like the orgy room's still up the stairs on the, towards the front of the building, and the private rooms were towards the back of the building still. But everything's just a lot neater, I guess. It's a lot better put together, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
The standard's still there. It's an extremely clean place.
Oh, absolutely.
How Jess and Lawrence run it, it's just, you can't put them wrong. Like, it's a tricky business to run. You have to deal with so many big characters and bodily fluids and things not always going to plan, but they do it all just in their stride.
No, they do it really, really well. Like, you can go almost anywhere in the building, and there's always condoms or lube within an arm's reach distance as well, which is always really, really handy, as opposed to, like, beginning to get hot and heavy with somebody, and you're
having to go on a quest.
Exactly.
A lube quest.
To be fair, that sounds kind of fun.
That does sound kind of fun.
Yeah, stuff Easter egg hunts, bring out the lube tube hunts.
Lube tube hunts. I'm all about it.
We'll get to that later.
All about that. But so that's the layout of the whole thing, and it is really, really, really great to walk through, and sort of, I was in awe during the two tours that I got. Because Emily, you gave us one to begin with, and then I made Bradford give me another one later on.
Yes, which made me quite upset.
The only reason I did that is because I like making Bradford do things.
Yeah, fair enough.
He's such a switch.
I can get on board with that.
What a shock. But we started our night by playing pool, didn't we?
Yes.
Terribly.
Very
terribly.
All four of us just absolutely awful.
Yeah. It was a good match, to be fair.
I think I did
Everyone
win at the end,
was very
though.
evenly bad.
I did win, though, didn't I? Surely.
Somebody won? I can't
don't
remember.
know. We sunk balls, we played with balls, that's all that matters, right?
I mean, there was a lot of that.
It was.
But I've sort of relaxed for a long time before I actually went and did anything. You guys started playing before I did, so...
Yeah,
tell
we
us
went
what
and
happened.
played... Yeah, we went and played with a guy that Emily's played with before.
Mm.
And he was definitely very yummy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, the abs on that man, like, woof.
I think I know the guy you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was lovely. He really
He's a great guy.
he just was enjoying it, and we had another couple actually come and join us, and they weren't really my cup of tea, but you like them.
I didn't know who they were.
We still don't know who they were.
I still don't.
We hadn't spoken to them. We didn't speak to them
Yeah,
afterwards.
we didn't have any words.
No.
So...
So
But
I
it was
want to
very
talk about
fun.
that. Is that something that's common for you guys? Because I mean, it's one of those things for me. When I went to the first one, I didn't get like vocally told to come and join. I didn't really ask. I just sort of went up and went, and this is when people were halfway through it, and I just sort of went, so can I join now?
this was definitely an interesting night for us because it was our first time playing as a couple.
So we're going to talk about that a little bit later too.
Yeah. But with the person that Emily had played with before, there was definitely vocalization of let's all kind of hop in bed with each other, and then this couple saw us, and I think we were actually one of the first people to start playing. I think.
Yeah, I think we were.
Yeah,
I think that surprised me. I think you were ready to go before you even got to the club.
Sadie definitely was.
Yes, I'm more
She's
than aware of that.
Yeah, my drive is pretty strong.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that started before we even had dinner.
Yeah.
1000%.
But anyway,
so we had started playing, and a couple kind of just came and sat on the edge of the bed, and then just slowly inched over. But I just wasn't very digging them. But we just kind of like Emily played a little bit more with them, and
yeah.
So in that situation though, did you ever feel uncomfortable if it went too far, that they wouldn't stop or anything like that, or was it just sort of they weren't your thing?
There were definitely moments for me where I was like, we were doing things and I wanted to stop or just slow down, and I was able to say that, and whoever I was with would stop or slow down or do whatever.
Well, that's awesome.
So
that's
it was good. That was good.
Because that's the thing that I worry about when there's people who sort of just come over and play that you haven't really negotiated or anything with beforehand. That's always my biggest worry, and it can sometimes be difficult to say, hey, not actually really into that. But I think in that environment though, with the people that do go to OSS, most people are understanding in that way.
Yeah, and that's definitely what I experienced with them.
That's good.
So that was good. But I think it's difficult in that situation because, like, I would say that the man of that couple, like the guy, definitely asked me, like, hey, can we join in? Not in words, but in like a look, like moving towards us kind of fashion.
So
it was
the best way to put
understood.
that is yeah. So that they've come towards you in a way that if you didn't sort of nod them on to come over, they probably wouldn't have joined.
Yeah. And I think if I'd kind of given the vibes of like no, I feel like they would have been okay.
But I didn't see them any other time apart from that time. I didn't even see them downstairs. So
in and out, wham bam, thank you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we had a good time.
Yeah. And I kept falling down the crack. That was the
poor thing.
Actually, I think towards the end of this is when I had my first little bit of play with, because I'd taken some toys with me to Sydney, as I usually do, because what I have to play with is a lot of fun, isn't it, Emily?
It sure is.
And the gentleman and Bradford and Angela know that I always bring these certain toys with me, so they brought a volunteer, I guess, as tribute. Might be the best way to put it. I'm not really sure how to put it, but they brought me this wonderful lady, who apparently was quite into electro play, which is, well, people who listen to this regularly already know that that's one of my big things, and it's it gets me aroused just talking about it. But anyway, so I went and did some Violet Wand work with her. I didn't get my tens machine out with her, which was slightly sad because my tens is my big lot of fun.
That's sad for her.
It's sad for me too.
Caring.
It was sad for me too, but she was done after the wand, so that's absolutely fine. But I was using my steel claws and stuff like that with her, and she had done a fair bit of tantric stuff, so she was able to get those feelings through and able to orgasm from that. So that was awesome for me, just sort of helping people along doing that. It was, I love my electro stuff. I absolutely love it. And it was really cool because I think a lot of people that were there that night hadn't seen this kind of play before.
No, I think you're right.
So there was a fair few people just looking at it going, is that I think somebody said it like, is that a fly swatter or something at some point? Like, is somebody grinding something or something like that? You know, there was a lot of comments of just people not knowing what the hell was going on.
Yeah. And I think also, a bit later, we were kind of playing around with that kind of stuff in quite a public area.
Oh, it was the same area. I was in the same area.
Oh, were you?
The exact same area, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, the exact same setting.
I didn't know where you went for.
I think you were still. I think I had gone down and tapped out at this point.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I kind of lost track of most people for a little while there.
Sadie definitely left before Emily because I saw her downstairs.
Yeah.
Just after I'd finished with this girl as well, and I only played twice, I think, throughout the whole evening, and. Yeah, one was this electro play, and the rest of it was sort of just little bits of fiddling around, and nothing heavy or anything like that, until later on. And
what happened later on, Simon?
I can't remember which way round it went. I can't remember if I had the electro gear out with Emily first, or I joined both of you first. I can't remember.
I think you joined us both first.
Yeah, it was first, both. We asked you though.
Yes, yeah. So I'm not big on asking people, and Sadie and I have had this conversation on Messenger where I said I'm really not a big fan of initiating anything. I like people to feel comfortable with me, or for it to just sort of occur naturally, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, for lack of a better term. Right? But yeah, Sadie came up and asked me, so Emma and I were wondering
yes,
if you'd want to join us. And I don't think I could have said yes quicker. It was like, yes. Yes, let's go. Thank you. Good. Do the thing.
It was very nice of you to accept our offer.
Like I was going to say no.
I don't know. You could say no. We're not everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah, but, I mean, come on. There had been a tangible sense of something since dinner.
You might be right.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And it just sort of, it built up as we kept on seeing each other throughout the night as well, I would say. There'd just be like another little step up and be like, oh yeah. And then, so we went into one of the private rooms, but we didn't put the chain up or anything, did we? It was just...
No.
We went in, and what happened next, Sadie?
Well, was I the centre of attention, really?
Sure were.
Yeah, you were.
I was the centre. I was like the meat in the sandwich, which was quite nice. So yeah, we played around, and yeah, at one point I was just like, yeah, I'm going to get on you, and so got on you, which was really nice.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was good fun.
I think Emily just said at that point, I'm just going to watch this, or something along those lines.
Yeah, I wasn't getting in the middle of that, so I was just happy to watch.
I hope it was a good show.
Yeah, it was.
It was great from where I was.
I can imagine.
I'm not gonna lie.
It was excellent from where I was.
But even during the lead up of that, there was a lot of tongues, a lot of fingers, a lot of everything everywhere, and it was delicious in every sense of the word. It was absolutely scrumptious. How much of a break was there before we moved to the electro part? Was it a wee while? I can't remember.
I think we went down and chatted with Bradford for a while.
I also spoke to the gentleman. Oh my gosh, that man is hot.
Oh yeah.
I think everybody who goes to the club is a little bit in love with him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's something very, very sexy about him, like that energy that he has. Like,
See, it was really weird because, like, last time I pretty much just played with Bradford, Angela, the gentleman, and the lady friend that he'd brought that time. And this time I didn't play with any of them at all, so it was just completely different for me. It was interesting.
I think I listened to their episode about this night, and I think they were a little bit preoccupied
Yeah.
in their little group.
yeah, they
Yeah.
had their, I don't want to make it sound mean, but a bit of a fuck club, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
For sure.
all those guys, and it's great that they have those
I think
relationships, but it's a bit more than just a swinger club type of thing. It's
Yeah.
polyamory, really.
Almost, yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Well, you tagged me in a polyamory cartoon on Instagram.
I did.
the other
I thought
day.
it was
It
cute.
was very cute. We're not at that stage yet, though.
Notice how she says yes.
So do you call yourselves swingers at the moment, or what? Is there a label?
We don't see other people outside of, like, dating day to day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like we are, I guess, monogamous in the sense of, like, we don't date other people or hook up with other people on our own.
Yeah.
But we will go to the club and play with other people, play separately, play together, as more of an occasional.
Yeah.
And we were basically saying, one thing was getting a bit more serious between us. We was talking about Pendulum, and we still wanted to keep going to that, and so that's been one of the nights that we've said that we'd keep going to. We also want a queer-friendly environment, an environment that we feel both comfortable in.
So, in the episode that I just released a couple of days ago, it won't be from a couple of days ago once this comes out, but episode 1 of season 2, I talk about the club that I went to in Texas, where, because it's Texas, they're not overly bi or queer friendly in it. So it was, I had to sort of watch what I was doing as well as what others were doing and that sort of thing. I had to be aware, and it does feel really nice to not have to think about that, because it's, I guess, for lack of a better term, expected at Pendulum. Like, people know what they're getting into.
Yeah. But we would call ourselves monogamous at the moment, but I think if the right person or people came around, we would explore opening up. But yeah, we don't want to upset each other, and that was one thing that we both went in with going to Pendulum for the first time as a couple. We both said, if either of us want to pull the pin at any stage for any reason, that's more than
that's what
acceptable.
it is. Yeah.
And I think it's also, we didn't know, like, I didn't know if I was going to be jealous or upset or I didn't know how I was going to react. You didn't know how you were going to react. So it was just very like, let's go do this thing, do what we want to do individually and as a couple.
Yeah.
But if the line kind of is getting crossed, then it's okay to speak up.
To speak up.
And now we kind of understand, I think, the boundaries a little bit better.
Yeah. And that's a good experience to go through if you're learning from it as well, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
More about you guys and more about your relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you have to have good comms, like communication skills, and I think...
Well, that's the same. It's the same with every relationship. I think it's more important in these situations to stop feelings getting hurt.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah.
But we digressed again.
Yeah, that tends to happen.
Yeah. Again, anybody who's listened to us any episode, like, you've done, I think, 33 or something of them now, you can literally choose any one, and there's going to be digressions in it. So
Right.
it's fine.
And I think it's good though to play with different people at the club or nights. I think if people just go and play with the same people again and again, of course, like, if you want to do it. But I think you are limiting yourself because everyone is so different in bed. and it's so exciting to actually experience lots of different people.
Yes.
Why not do it? As long as it's consensual and people are, happy with it.
Yeah,
just
exactly. But anyway, there was a break between us playing and Emily went downstairs
where I
talking
just was
about
ogling. I just ogled the gentleman the whole time, really.
I mean, it's very, very easy to just sort of get lost looking at him, and next thing you know, you've been staring at him for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, of course, you're not daydreaming about him now, are you?
No. I don't know. Neither. You haven't slept with him, have you?
No.
I haven't slept with him either. So maybe,
I haven't slept with him, but I've fooled around with him.
Yeah. Maybe the fantasy might be, more than what it actually would be, but
a friend of ours has, and he has had very good reports.
Oh yes. A friend. We had a friend round for dinner. Was it the week after? I think it was the week after. Pendulum. And this other gentleman, he's not the gentleman, it's another gentleman, was saying about how good the gentleman is.
I think we all knew that. It's not a surprise.
I think of all people, he knows that.
Yeah.
But eventually, how did the next part happen, Emily? I can't remember.
I think...
Did you ask Simon about it?
I think I was asking you about the toys that you brought in a more general way. And we talked about it a little bit earlier in the night, and I was kind of interested, but I'd never done any of that kind of stuff before. Mm-hmm. So I was interested, but I was also a little bit sheepish, I guess.
Yeah. It's one of those things, because we were talking about electroplay. Sorry to jump in. We were talking about electroplay during this. And a lot of people tend to get a little bit nervous when they hear electro, because they think it's like just getting shocked and it's going to be hella painful and all sorts of things like that, and it's just unsafe is probably what most people think, because they think it's just electricity. But it's not like that at all, as you found out.
Yes.
So you're going to be narrating this part. I'm going to let you walk through all of this.
Okay. All right. Well, I think what happened next was we were kind of talking about it, and you were like, you said, do you want to try? And I was like, okay. I was still maybe a little bit apprehensive, but excited.
I did make sure that it was an actual yes, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you said okay like 2 or 3 times. I was like, that is not
so.
Overly enthusiastic. Are you sure about this?
Yes. Yeah. I think that's true. And to your credit, you did check in with me the whole time, and you were very respectful and very, considerate. So I don't want it to sound like I was...
No. You were not coerced into it.
Absolutely not at all. I was definitely, I think, a little bit unsure, because it wasn't something I did experience before, but it was something that I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. If that clears it up.
Yeah, makes sense.
And I did come up halfway.
You came up about halfway.
Yeah, to watch, which was fun. But you were doing stuff on your arms, weren't you, to start with?
It all gets a little bit blurry.
You had definitely taken your bra off. I can remember your tits being out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they definitely were. So we started with the violet wand, which is what was happening on the arms.
Yes, that's right.
Like that. So very similar to what I'd done earlier on in the evening.
Yes. I must say, it is all a little bit of a blur for me.
I came up when you had the pads on your legs. I came upstairs.
That's got to be difficult going upstairs while that's happening.
Yeah, goodness. She's very talented.
But Emily had the pads on her legs.
Yeah. The TENS machine.
The TENS machine. So yeah, before that we'd gone through a whole heap of different things with the violet wand. So I'd used, I think I'd used the Wartenberg wheel, the little spiky wheel.
I think so. Yeah.
I think I'd used my claws.
Yes.
I was also
showing... Are the claws electrified, or are they just like...
No, they're just steel. They're just steel claws. And the electricity comes through my body and out the claws on the other side.
Ah.
Which creates it's a really interesting sensation. The claws especially, because you're getting the sharpness of the claws plus the spark of the electricity going through.
Yes.
I use just a violet wand on its own.
Yeah.
And also just the electricity travelling through my fingers as well. So I was stroking you skin to skin, and the electricity was flowing through that way as well. Can you remember which was most enjoyable out of that, do you think?
I think
Can you remember?
actually. Sorry?
Can you remember? Or is it just fuzzy?
I can remember. I'm just thinking. I think the skin to skin was definitely the most interesting, because you know what that feels like when someone's touching you normally when they're not electrified. So to like have that on a whole nother level was very cool.
Yeah. And then, so from that point, I think I'd asked you if you wanted to try the 10s after we'd gone through a whole bunch of that.
Yeah.
And I think that at that point is when you got quite enthusiastic. You were like, yes, I've tried this little bit of electro stuff. Please give me more now. Please, thank you, please.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
I think we actually had somebody join us halfway through.
Oh, that was the girl that I played with earlier.
Was that?
It was the same person, yes. I do remember
I liked
that.
her.
So did I.
I was quite pleased when she came over.
This was still during the wand though, wasn't it?
That's right.
Yeah, still during the wand, and she started playing around with you, and I think she was licking your nipples at one point. I seem to remember that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's actually a surprise to me.
But she did have hands all over you as well.
I was a little bit distracted.
But yeah, her hands were all over you.
I was in my happy place. But as a quick aside and a great story, she at one point said, you know, I've got to go. I'm going to go. I'm like, oh, very sad, but okay. And she left, and I thought what she meant was, I'm leaving, like I'm going, I'm done. And then maybe 5 minutes later, I see her come through again with a strap on.
Which she lost just after that. She lost it just after that and spent the whole rest of the evening trying to find it.
Oh, that's very sad.
She did find it at the end.
That's good.
Yeah.
Because, I was very sad that she was going to leave. And then I was also very sad that I was missing out on the fun.
FOMO.
Should I be offended by that you were missing out on that fun while having my fun?
I just wanted all of the fun all at once.
But, yes, so after that, we did move to the tens machine.
Yes.
Which I had attached to, I think, the inside and the outside of your thigh? Or had it from top and bottom? Inside and outside, I think.
The inside and the outside, I think.
Yeah. I had walked up by this point, so I was watching.
I usually do enjoy the inner thigh because it's quite sensitive most of the time anyway, so I tend to have an electrode there, so yeah. For those who don't know what a TENS machine is, it's basically just a little box and you put electrodes on another person's skin, and it sends electrical pulses between those two electrodes. It is basically what it does. And I did give you a quick rundown of how it worked before we went in, and told you some of the safety things like never crossing the center line or anything like that. Don't play with TENS when you're by yourself because you can't actually turn it off sometimes.
Yeah.
And then we started going through a few of the programs.
Yes.
And I can see your face go, So tell me how that felt.
It was very interesting. It was definitely, I didn't really know what to expect.
Yeah.
So that was very interesting. And then going through the different kind of settings, the different programs, the different sensations was very exciting. But also I felt a little bit like a experiment because we had lots of people coming up being like, what are you doing?
Yeah, what the hell is going on
How
here?
do you do that?
There was a lot of people came up and watched. Even Bradford and Angela came up and watched. for a while.
I think that was at the height of Emily screaming out quite loudly during that.
Yes.
So,
It's the call of the wild.
I think that's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't get complaints.
So with the tense machine, there's lots of programs, so I can do alternate sides. There's a whole bunch of short ones I can do. It can be big, long ones. There's a whole heap of different experience, but my favourite one is what I call the mindfuck button. Do you remember that?
I sure do.
What does that do?
It's very self-explanatory.
Really? I don't know what you mean.
Really?
Does it jump around?
No, it's kind of like it's like a real jump in intensity all at once.
Yeah. So it pushes the power up as long as I've got my finger on the button.
I did ask you about it afterwards and if you were in any pain. And you said it was a little bit painful at points.
Yeah, but it's that, it's that sex pain.
Yeah.
It's not real pain. It's different.
Yeah, I think I was asking you out of 10 at points how much it was hurting you. It's usually, I was checking in with you regardless, making sure that everything was going okay.
And Emily's got quite a few tattoos, so I asked her in relation to like getting tattoos done versus the machine.
It's definitely different.
Yeah. You said your back tattoo was like nothing.
Yeah, I've got one on my shoulder blade, which was 5 hours on my shoulder blade was a bit uncomfortable.
I know that
I was
feeling.
not in a sexy environment when that was happening, so that might be the difference.
See, getting my arm done, like you remember my full sleeve, was done in
8-hour
sittings, 3 days in a row.
Yeah, shit.
But the problem was it was quite a sexually charged environment because I was having fun with the tattooist that was tattooing me at that time. So it was all sort of on the brim, I guess, while it was happening. So I'm like, you're putting me through pain. This is nice. This is nice. This is nice. Okay, and now I'm It's different for different people, and nothing accentuated this more than what happened after we stopped playing. I'm not sure if you hung around,
there was some people that came in late that I remember who they seemed nice enough, but they were just a little bit not Pendulum crowd, if that makes sense.
I'll agree with that.
The guy
Definitely.
seemed very straighty 180, and he must have been was he in his late 40s, maybe even a bit later?
Yeah, I would say that, late 40s, early 50s.
Nice enough bloke, but he was very
He wanted to make...
He was curious.
Yeah, so I put the TENS machine on a couple of other people after this. And the first guy, I felt that as though he was very much, I need to prove that I'm tough.
100%.
Getting through this. That's what it felt like to me as I was doing it.
Yeah, I got that sense too.
He wasn't that, and he was sitting there going, am I meant to come from this or something like that? I think he said at one point. Am I meant to be coming from this? I'm like, well, no. That's not the point of this.
Yes.
And I don't think he really just understood what it was about.
Yeah.
No.
I think that is one thing about, especially when people are so focused on an orgasm, like they just miss out on all the other stuff that can happen.
Well, the sensations are just, but then there was another person just after that, and this was just before I left. I think we left quite close to closing time, actually.
I think Sadie and I left a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Did we leave? We left about 2:30, did we?
Yeah, 2:30 or 3.
I think you guys left as I was still playing, and we had a quick
you
goodbye.
were.
Yeah.
It wasn't a quick goodbye. It was a pretty decent goodbye.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I was playing with another gentleman who quite understood it and was really, really fun to play with as well. I wish that there would have been more time to have explored him. It would have been a lot of fun. But yeah, and that was the night.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, it was lots of fun. And your partner, she was so cute.
Yeah. she always had to keep coming up to us and be like, I did this, I did a thing. And we're just like,
I
yes,
love
well
it.
done.
Yeah. Her boobs as well. Oh, so nice
my
boobs.
God, right? Yeah. Especially because she's, quite little.
Yes.
Mm.
But her boobs aren't that little.
Boobs are just like, hey, I'm here. And it's like, yeah, I know. Like, yep.
And it's very soft to touch as well.
Yeah. Very, very nice. So, from that point, positives and any potential negatives from the night.
I had a really good time.
Yeah, me too.
I know that probably the sex afterwards that we had as well was like in the next couple of days was quite good as well. Just us two. I don't know. It was a good experience, and it wasn't as complicated in that I thought it could get for being in a couple. Like we're both quite relaxed people, which helps, I think. I guess I guess the only kind of negative that I can think of was maybe I was being a little bit more reserved because I was a bit cautious during that time. So probably next time we'll go to something like that, I'll probably be a bit more, hello!
You can get a little bit shy,
me walking into the place.
Yeah. I can get a bit shy as well. So,
yeah.
And I also...
It's the same with me. Like, if I know people, I am arguably one of the most outgoing people you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
But and you saw that as I walked into the place, I saw Bradford Angel. I was like, blah, blah, blah. After that, not so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also just don't want to be that sleazy woman in the corner, like.
I don't think anybody thinks a single woman at a swingers club is sleazy.
I don't want to have that happen though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine that.
Yeah. And what worked for you?
Yeah, all positives. I'm very happy.
Or a high point then.
Yes.
What was it like seeing me being fucked by somebody else?
It was great.
It
It
was
was fan-fucking-tastic.
More than once?
Yeah. Like 2 or 3 times.
Brilliant. So, yeah, that kind of does bring us towards what I wanted to bring up was you've both played as singles and gone to clubs as singles. And this was your first time as a couple, correct?
Yes.
So how do the two differentiate? So how is it different going as a single woman as opposed to in a couple? Especially a female couple, because I feel that that's going to be a bit different to what not straight couple, but male-female couple.
Yeah, I don't know if people automatically thought we were a couple.
Like the people who we spoke to that we knew, obviously knew.
Yeah.
But I think definitely, you know, even when it is like a queer type event, the assumption of like, oh, those two women who are together at you know, doing things together, the assumption it wasn't straight away that we were a couple.
Yeah, that we were two girlfriends.
It was just two girls hooking up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I would say that's pretty standard.
I think it definitely is a pendulum.
Yeah.
But going as a single woman to events before, depends on the event. So I've also gone to the other swingers club in Surrey Hills, which I wasn't that impressed by, to be really truthful. And I went on a night where they also let single men in.
Yay, that can be dangerous.
Yeah, and it was just a little bit slightly overwhelming because there was a lot of single men, and there must have been like 3 other couples and 2 other single women there.
Oh dear.
So it was a little bit overwhelming, I have to say.
Yeah.
But I've been to not Pendulum. That was the Pendulum that we met at. That was my first Pendulum. So that Pendulum in November. But I had gone to a couple of like standard nights at our secret spot before. And I felt sometimes I would meet couples that wanted to almost claim you as a single woman, if that makes sense. It would be like, you're ours.
Unicorn hunters? Yeah,
a little bit unicorn hunters. Like the very first time I went to our secret spot, the guy of the female male couple that I hooked up with, he blatantly said, I don't want to hook up with anybody else apart from you.
That's a wee bit weird.
Yeah, that is strange.
And I've been to like where it's been that social setting, and you'll get talking to a couple, and you just know it's not going to work.
Go any further than that?
Yeah, or like you're happy to talk to someone, but you know, I'm very. It's not just about the physical for me; it's about what people are saying. If someone's just not that intellectually blah, I'm just like,
so that's what got me.
Definitely. And your good looks. But yeah, it is a bit different. And I think going as a couple with Emily was great because we could bounce off each other a little bit. We could just play with ourselves. And it was just nice. I thought it was easier in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you've always got that sort of go back reference point, I guess. If not much is happening, you've got somebody that you can go and find at any time and just
you know that you're going to get laid.
yeah.
That night.
In saying that though,
Great.
That doesn't mean you have to sleep with your partner on that night either.
No.
Depending on how each other's feeling and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so overall, more positive going as a couple, you think?
Yeah,
easier.
I think if Emily did want to go by herself to an event, I think that would also be cool in my books,
Yeah. I think generally we're just pretty relaxed, pretty open.
Yeah. It's just with our lives, we get quite busy, so we just don't really have that much time to do other people, I guess.
That's true.
It's one way.
I spend enough time dating you.
Yeah.
How am I going to fit somebody else into my busy schedule?
It's basically just going to be if I happen to land in Sydney at some point.
maybe not for another 6 months, it seems.
Yeah, maybe not. Plus, I'm not even sure if I'm going to be able to travel after that. I've got a big trip to Europe planned next year, so I'm not sure when I'll be back.
You have a big what?
Jesus. I have a big...
Oh, your big trip.
Yeah, big trip to Europe.
The European trip, right? Yeah, that's right.
And that's for June
Sydney's
next year.
part of Europe.
No, it's not.
Can it be?
No.
No, I'm going to be away for 4 months.
It's like saying New Zealand's part of Australia.
Oh yeah, we're the East Island of Australia.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
It's just that our Prime Minister's 72 times better than yours.
Oh, I was going to ask you, how did you feel about going with another person that was fairly new to even the idea of swinging versus going as a single?
Yeah, really, really good question, actually. The girl I went with and myself have been kind of seeing each other for a little while, so we were relatively comfortable with each other. It wasn't like we were just friends who decided to go. And we've been, kind of seeing each other. So we already had that relationship there, which was nice. The biggest thing I think was, like I said earlier, that she has some anxiety that pops up from time to time, and it was just getting her into a mellow enough state that she was comfortable going and doing all these things.
Yeah.
But once we were inside, it was absolutely fine. It was nice to have, like you guys said, another person to talk to as well. If you two were busy and Bradford and Angela was busy, I still had this lovely lady to go and talk to and use as a reference point as well. So it did make it a little bit easier. But again, my biggest thing is the initiation of anything happening. I'm not good at that, and neither was my partner. So I guess that was the slightly more difficult side, I guess.
Yeah, she seemed more introverted.
Yeah, and I'm extroverted in the right areas, in the right spaces, but not. I'm always very cautious going up and even flirting with people or asking people out or anything like that. Just because I don't want to overstep any boundaries or lines.
Yeah.
More than anything else. So that's my biggest problem going to that. I think if I went with somebody who was not afraid of it doing things like that, then it would have been a wee bit different and it would have been even easier again. But it still felt going as a couple was easier for me and was just really quite a cruisy experience. Like, because her and I didn't play, but we knew that we could at any point.
Yes.
But yeah, we didn't, so it just sort of worked out as it did, and it was nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was pretty cute. I'd definitely tap her again.
I guarantee that she's up for that.
Yes.
So we're just touching on the fact that on the whole sexuality thing. You're both bisexual, correct, or pansexual? What's the go?
I use the label bi and a little bit. I'm queer. And I have been with people that are gender diverse. But this is my first proper relationship with a woman, which is pretty cool and interesting. I think I'm impressing Emily, hopefully. I did put a nice lunch on today for you.
Yes, you did.
But yeah, no, I probably, if someone goes, what's your sexuality, I'd be like, I'm bi. I date both men and women, just to keep it fairly stock standard, if that makes sense. I wear bi colours if, like, at Mardi Gras I was wearing my bi pin and things like that. Like, I think pansexual, yes, probably is maybe a better label. Like, I've always, before I really started exploring my own sexuality, I would always say to partners, it's not about you as a bloke, it's you as a person.
Yeah,
so it's always been exactly about the person.
I do the exact same thing. I say bi just because it's easier, I guess.
Yeah.
But I if it looks good, then I'm gonna want to be with it.
Yeah.
And if it smells good, looks good, and acts good,
tastes good,
tastes good.
If they have a bit of substance about them, then I'm just melting.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely the same. Like, for ease of communicating, I would say bisexual, but I really don't care. I don't really care what you are, who you are, what you think, say you are. It really doesn't bother me.
Yeah. So did either of you have like a journey going into your bisexuality, for lack of a better term?
I probably came out about a year ago, and I'm a bit older than Emily, so I'm 30, and I had been in several long-term relationships, very, very stock standard monogamous relationships with blokes. And yeah.
How boring.
I had dabbled in the kink scene, and I had like read lots of different things, and then I think, just kind of, and also I grew up in Darlinghurst, so I was surrounded by gay men a lot of the time, sometimes the odd lesbian, but the bisexual people always kind of put at the back almost, which was awful. Like, even as a kid, I remember talking about bisexuality during one Mardi Gras, and people were like, yeah, they have it the hardest. And so maybe I had subconsciously like suppressed that. I was like, oh, I don't want to be one of those people. Right. Like, I don't want to be shunned. But yeah, it just got more and more comfortable. And I think there's been a huge movement on the internet and in our community in Sydney for bisexual people to come together more and be more proud of that, which has definitely encouraged me. But, you know, there's still a lot of barriers of being bisexual, like the mental health outcomes are worse. The stats are really poor outcomes, so you do have to be mindful of looking after yourself and making sure that you're okay. And so far I have been okay, and it's been great being with Emily, who just is a great support, and just is lots of fun to be around.
So one of the big things as a bi male, what I've found a lot is not gay enough for the men, not straight enough for the women.
Yeah. Not queer enough for the queer spaces, not straight enough for
straighties.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing that I struggle with quite a lot.
Yeah. And I think still I get a little bit shy or a bit worried that I will be judged. Like, I did actually have a bit of a, not a run-in, but at Fair Day I had a stall for a community group that I'm involved with, and we were next to the Dykes on Bikes area, and there's a lesbian bushwalking group, and I was wearing my bi pin at the time.
Right.
And they said, oh, you're going to get some volunteers for your community group from the Dykes on Bikes. Like, really kind of bit almost like attacking me almost. And I was just like, well, actually, we've got one as our board member already, you know. And it was true. But yeah, so there's still stuff that happens like that where
Absolutely.
you kind of go, yep, I can see that you know that you've seen my bi pin and you're having a bit of a go at me, you know. So, yes.
And what about you, Emma?
Yeah, I agree with everything both of you have said, you know, and experienced the same thing. I think I always kind of knew that I wasn't straight.
Right.
But I definitely felt the sense of, well, I can't really say that I'm anything else until I've been with a woman or had a relationship, or, you know, because similarly, I've had, you know, 2 quite long-term serious relationships with men. And I think it is true to say it's hard to tell somebody when you've only been in serious relationships with men, or if you're in one, to say, well, actually, I'm bisexual. Because people just don't believe you. You know?
100%.
Yeah, as coming out to close family and friends, some of the questions were, how do you know? And it's just like, well, actually, I have been sleeping with women. I just haven't found the one yet.
I just don't tell you about it.
Yeah.
You don't need to know about all the sex that I have.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing around, you know, the perception is, I think it's only very recently that being gay has been acceptable.
Yeah.
Whether you're a man who you know, is interested in men, or a woman who's interested in women, that has only just kind of become fairly normal, at least here in Australia.
Yeah, there's still a lot against it, but
yeah, there's still a lot against it, but, you know, generally, if you compare to, you know, historically,
even 10 years ago,
yeah, it's pretty regular now, but I think people still haven't gotten their heads around somebody can like both.
Yeah.
You know,
and we're not greedy. We're not greedy. We've just got good options.
Speak for yourself.
It's great.
I'm greedy.
Why only bang one group of people when you can bang 2? That's what I say.
And on that note, that takes us perfectly into the next point of the non-monogamy journey, I guess, because you've said that you're monogamous, but you still have this sort of playful side.
I would borrow a term from somebody I love to listen to, Dan Savage.
Yeah.
The term monogamish.
Yeah.
We're monogamish.
We met in a very non-monogamous way.
It's hard to say you're monogamous when you met at a swingers party.
And I think when we hooked up, I had to go fairly early in the night because I was doing something the next day. And talking to Emily when we were arranging the date and things like that, I think there was a little bit of hesitation on your side. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but you didn't really want to go into details about what you had done after I left a bit. You were a bit worried that it might hurt my feelings or I'd get FOMO or something like that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. And it was also like first date territory.
Yeah.
Where you're extra careful, right?
Yeah. I really liked our first date though.
Yeah, it was
what did you do?
We just went to a local bar.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I picked the bar that was literally outside the office that I was working in because I'm selfish.
Yeah, I had to walk.
Yeah, and I think you had been in dabbling in the lifestyle a little bit longer than I had. And I think we both kind of got into it for the same reason of being able to explore our sexuality in a kind of environment that's more accepting.
Yeah. And you don't have to date a whole lot of people to go and play with them. You can literally say, hi, my name is, and then get on with it.
Or not say that. I don't think we did.
We introduced ourselves.
Maybe like halfway through.
See, that's something I don't do. Is I never introduce myself. I always get introduced.
Right.
No.
See, if I'm going somewhere with friends, like, hey, this is blah blah blah. This is Simon, or and that's how I meet people, and that's part of that whole initiation thing that I was talking about earlier.
No, well, we did get thrown together by one of the people that were actually at the second Pendulum party. I joked that he should be our flower girl at our wedding.
Amazing.
And Emily's face was very cute when I mentioned it. Her eyes just rolled back and was just like, oh, yeah.
Like, we're gay, but we're not that gay.
Well,
we're not getting married yet.
Well, I haven't proposed yet. But I in some ways, I don't want also lots of other people to know what we do every 3 months, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I could prefer this to be more just between us and the friends that we do it with, rather than, I don't want my parents to know, I don't really want my neighbours to know. There will be probably a select few close friends that I probably will tell, or friends who I know who do similar things.
Right.
But I just don't want every person to know. And I also work in, certain industries, and I volunteer in certain roles that I don't think would necessarily, there'd be some people in those in powers of position that wouldn't necessarily agree with what I do.
Yeah,
or
and
understand.
It could affect your personal life.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
we just go on podcasts and talk about it instead.
Yeah. Not our real names, just FYI.
Yeah. Fantastic. Only a couple more things to talk about. We're almost there. It's been a long one, this one, hasn't it? Cheekers.
Yeah.
It's just sort of...
Oh, we like it.
It was touched on a little while ago that Sadie, you're into... that you did get into the kink scene a little bit as well.
A little bit. I find it a bit of a strange scene, though, in general, I have to say. I've never really found necessarily my groove. I still have my shibari rope, and I'll still do ties on myself quite regularly. And I have been with a couple of people that can do good shibari, but not like a long-term partner.
Right.
But I do enjoy getting dressed up. I enjoy kind of that high consent-aware environment. However, I sometimes find it a bit cliquey.
Yeah, that's fair.
People know each other through certain munches, or they go, if you're wearing a collar, for example, they go, well, are you actually a sub? And you'll get those types of questions thrown at you.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it can be quite off-putting. However, I am a bit of a switch, but I probably am a bit more submissive a lot of the time. I like a bit of impact play. I love being tied up. I like sensations, like, the pleasure sensations, and just that power dynamic, and setting up really clear scenes and having clear roles for people really is something that turns me on.
Cool. Yeah, so the question I was going to ask with that, and you did just get to the end of it, is what are some of the kinks that you guys have, if any?
Well, we haven't really got to that stage yet, have we? I have got my shibari rope draped over my headboard on my bed.
Does. See,
not even just with each other, but just in general, I guess.
Well,
I know Emily's got a new one.
Night. Sorry?
I know Emily's got a relatively recent one.
I sure do.
An expensive one, though.
I know.
Oh, have you been researching?
Not properly. We're just waiting for you to come back.
Yeah, can you just come and zap us?
But you haven't experienced it
yet.
No,
I haven't experienced it yet.
But I think you would enjoy it. So yeah, that's a new one for me.
I think it's a new one for most people, to be fair.
Yeah.
We have quite vanilla sex, really, actually, when it comes down to it, apart from the group stuff.
Yeah, apart from the orgies that we have. It's pretty vanilla.
Amazing.
And,
it's one of the greatest sentences ever. We have pretty vanilla sex, apart from the orgies.
Yeah. But we like, sharing different things. Like we don't, not one of us is definitely the top all the time, which is really nice.
Yeah.
But I think kink-wise, we probably will explore that further.
Yeah.
But
I think it's important to say, it's kind of still early days. I think the kink
it is.
Stuff that we've done so far has been group sex and orgies and things like that. So, you know.
I thought that was just a Friday night.
I mean, we
Once every
met
3 months.
Yeah, we met last November, and we've been like properly dating for, I don't know, since February-ish.
Yeah.
January, February.
Yeah, so not too long.
So not too long.
There's a lot of time to still experience each other.
Yeah, I'm just happy cuddling.
She says cuddling.
Who doesn't love a good cuddle?
Yeah.
Cool. And last point to touch on. Yep, sure, why not? It's been a long pod. So you guys are still relatively new into the swinger scene, I guess. What is there any sort of pointers you could give to people who are brand new or haven't gone to anything yet, who are thinking about going or anything like that, both as singles or as a couple?
I think with me, I went to a mingle first. So our secret spot puts on, I think they're like bi-monthly or monthly drinks where it's at a local bar and you can mingle with couples. However, saying that, like, that's how I started, and I think that was a good kind of entry point.
Yeah.
However, comparing that to a social space in either Annandale or Darlinghurst, there's not too much difference, really, when you really scratch the surface. I think not putting pressure on yourself is probably my main tip. And I've seen people put pressure on themselves, and they've either got too drunk, too emotional. And I think being a single person, you have to be hyper aware of what other people are experiencing. And there's definitely couples where I have literally steered clear of them because I've seen them not doing too well. And I just don't want to get involved with that.
In the drama and stuff. Or...
Yeah, if the woman or if the man's looking uncomfortable, I won't approach. That's not my business to, you know. Obviously, I will reach out to people, and I do like talking to different people that, you know, are in the social spaces. And I think also when you're in the play space, you also have to be mindful of giving people space if they need space, and just being respectful and having good, enthusiastic consent. And I think one thing that I always try to really emphasize before I start a play session with anybody is, if you feel uncomfortable at any point, just say stop and we'll stop. Yeah. No hard feelings at all. And I just want to make people feel as comfortable as possible, really.
I really like back at the start there, the meet and mingle. I think the difference between that and, you know, the social areas at the club, especially, is that at the club there might still be something of an expectation to go upstairs.
Yeah.
Where there's absolutely, there's really none of that if you're just going to a local bar and having a drink. Because, well, that's how I first went, was through meet and mingle. But there was a whole bunch of podcasters there at this meet and mingle. It was myself, there was By the By guys, there was the Bed Hoppers, there was Kate from Swinging Down Under, and it was almost like a meet and mingle for the podcasters more than for the actual club.
And also my personal journey, I had been thinking about going to a swingers club for quite a while. And I had met a couple through a friend of mine, and I had started crushing on this couple majorly. And I said to myself, grow up. You don't know if they do that type of thing. They might. However, they haven't said anything to you. Go and meet a whole bunch of other adults that want to do something similar to you, what you want to do. You know, so get your big get your big girl pants on and go and, you know, put yourself out there a bit.
Can I put my big girl pants on?
My big girl pants.
Yeah, I'll put mine on
too. But yeah, you were a bit different though. Wasn't Pendulum your first night?
Yeah, so the first time I went to the club was a Pendulum. And I think that was really great for me. I actually think for me, doing a mingle as my first time, I think would have been a nightmare.
Well, I can talk underwater, can't I?
Yeah. Not to say that I wasn't social when I got there, because I was, but I think for me it was good to meet people in the context of we're at the club.
Right. Yeah.
And Pendulum is always a great event. I do recommend, you know, if you can get to Our Secret Spot, and if you can go to a Pendulum and you're interested in it, I think it's a really, really good first step, because all of the people there are so accepting.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been on nights where it's not Pendulum and the vibe has been a little bit different.
Right.
Still very respectful, still very like great, but with Pendulum it's like, it's kind of more accepting and respectful, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's super fun.
And it's so much fun.
It is.
So yeah, that's
The Club V night that they do, I've been to one of those where it's women only, and that was fun.
Yeah?
Yeah, that was fun.
yeah.
How so?
It was just a whole bunch of horny women. Like, what more do you want?
Yeah, fair. That's fair.
No men allowed.
No men allowed.
And I think as well, you were saying, don't put pressure on yourself, and I think that's true. Like,
Don't drink too much either. Like,
yeah.
or don't take drugs. Like, don't drink and drive or drugs. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm standing too square here, but
You could do drugs if you like.
I
don't know.
You just sometimes see weird people.
Yeah, I think the point is you don't want to be off your face on anything in that scenario. You need to be in control of what you're doing and what's happening around you. Not to say that you can't have a couple of drinks and loosen up, because I definitely do. But, when you're drunk or if you've taken drugs or something like that, you might not be fully in control of what's happening. And I think it's a space where you really need to be.
Especially as a single person.
Yeah.
Like, the staff will look after you at Our Secret Spot, but you also have to have a responsibility to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't expect everybody else to do things for you.
Yeah. Do drugs another time. Skip it the night that you're going to a swingers club is my advice.
The sensation and the tingliness can get a bit overwhelming when you're completely sober even.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, don't put pressure on yourself. Like, I've gone to the club on a night and left pretty early. I just wasn't feeling it.
And that's okay too.
Yeah, that's fine too. I knew I was just in a weird headspace, and I knew, I'm not having a great time, so I'm gonna go. And that's okay as well. If you get there and you don't like it, you can just leave.
Yeah.
So that's really important. And I think the other thing that I tell everybody is to get there early.
Yes.
Get there when it opens. I know you feel a bit square when you do it, but it's great because you meet the people that come as they're coming in. You get a real good opportunity to meet everybody. And you also don't walk in and everybody's already upstairs having sex with each other.
Yeah. And it does go in waves as well. People will be upstairs and downstairs, upstairs and downstairs.
I think it helps you sort of ease your way into the evening as well, like going in early.
Yeah.
Because like you said, everybody can still be upstairs when you get there a wee bit later, and you can automatically feel that urge to go and join them straight away without, I guess prepping yourself, for lack of a better term.
Exactly. And you don't get a chance to kind of like scout out what the vibe is and whether there are people that you're interested in that you maybe want to go talk to. So I think that's actually really important to get there early. And it also means you have more time for having sex.
Or whatever you want to do.
Or not have sex, or watch people, or
I love watching people.
Or go home. Whatever you want to do.
Awesome. Hey, thank you very much, ladies, for joining me. This has been a long one, and I'm gonna have to do some editing on it too. So that's gonna be fun. We did have technical difficulties smack bang in the middle of this, so that's gonna be fun to go back through and get done.
Something to do during lockdown.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm still at work. I'm still out of home and working. So, but I do have more spare time, so that's how I was able to get season 2 up and started again in general. But yeah,
that's good.
That'll give me something to do for this long weekend. I've got 4 days off and I don't know what to do with myself.
You're gonna edit?
I'm gonna have to now.
Just put that ball gag on.
I can't though, because it's so good. I'm just gonna take it off. To be fair, putting the ball gag in is the most action that I'm allowed to have until this thing's over.
Aww.
We're not allowed to go and see lovers like you lot are.
Yeah. Sorry.
Bloody ScoMo.
Yeah. ScoMo's all about women having sex with each other.
Oh, I bet he is. I'm sure he is with his stark religious background. Alright, again, thank you so much for coming on and taking out so much of your time to talk to me. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. And hopefully I can get back to Sydney soon.
Please do.
Yes.
We would like
Or
that.
we should go to Adelaide for the rabbit hole.
Adelaide's okay.
Oh, no one wants to go with me. Alright, I'll go by myself.
No. I do actually need to check the rabbit hole out. I just know that Adelaide is a fair flight away from where I am, and I think I need to do a stopover somewhere to do it. But it'll happen.
You can come visit us.
We can drive down to Adelaide. We can drive across the hay plain if you want.
I mean, there would have to be some some entertainment involved with doing that.
We could arrange it. Maybe there'd be even some roadhead or something.
Well, I'm just going back on how By the By and the Bedhoppers did their road trips, and it'll have to be something like that. But all right.
No, I like driving, and Emily likes doing things with her mouth.
I mean, that sounds ideal. I mean, that might make that really, really long drive doable. in more ways than one. And on that note, I'll let you guys go. Thank you very much once more.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
For the touch of your lips, dear, but much more for the touch of your whips, dear. You can raise welts like nobody else as we dance to the masochism tango. Say our love is a flame, not an ember. Say it's me that you want to dismember. Blacken my eye, set fire to my tie as we dance to the masochism tango. At your command, before you here I stand. My heart is in my hand. Yeah. It's here that I must be. My heart entreats. Just hear those savage beats, and go put on your cleats and come and trample me. Your heart is hard as stone or mahogany. That's why I'm in such exquisite agony. My soul is on fire. It's aflame with desire, which is why I perspire when we tango. You caught my nose in your left castanet, love. I can feel the pain yet, love, every time I hear drums. And I envy the rose that you held in your teeth, love, with the thorns underneath, love, sticking into your gums. Your eyes cast a spell that bewitches. The last time I needed 20 stitches to sew up the gash you made with your lash as we dance to the masochism tango. Bash in my brain and make me scream with pain, then kick me once again and say we'll never part. I know too well I'm underneath your spell, so darling, if you smell something burning, it's my heart. Won't you take your cigarette from its holder and burn your initials in my shoulder? Fracture my spine and swear that you're mine as we dance to the masochism tango.